You're doing something different here. So medical aesthetics, a lot of times people, when we're talking about aesthetics, it's facials, it's skincare, it's moisturizers, and all of that stuff, which is definitely something that you cover here, but you're going a little bit more on the medical side. So let's talk about your top 3 services that you offer here and kind of what they look like, and we can just kind of explain for those of us who are not in this every single day, kind of what that means and what we need to be doing.
Perfect. Well, number 1 is always Botox. But what I think makes us different in our practice is more our fillers. You know, it's not, I think when people come in for consultations with us, it's not going to be, well, this line bothers me, let's fill it in. You're going to get a full consultation on what we can do, because a lot of times this line is caused from here or here. And so I want to more kind of explain what's causing it so that you can make better decisions on what you do with your face.
Right.
Because we have a lot of people who'll come in and say, you know what, well, I don't want to look like a duck lips, or I don't want my cheeks to be too large. And that's all about placement of filler and the choice of which product we use. We have so many different options. So if we do a full face assessment, we're able to really hone in on what each person needs. So for example, a lot of times when people have too large of lips and it doesn't really fit their face very much, it's because they've lost structure here, and sometimes maybe a shorter chin. So if we actually work on that, it makes their lips fit their face more, and their lips actually look bigger.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that you get that's a lot different here, that a lot of times people are like, I've never heard anything like this before.
Yeah.
But when they walk out, they see those results, and it's so pretty and subtle that keeps them coming back.
Yeah, I think a lot of women are nervous when they come in because they don't know what to expect, and they don't know. I mean, we're all kind of insecure and figuring out, I mean, we're talking about our face. Like we can't, you know, it's just like a sensitive subject. And so I think that making sure that you're meeting with somebody who is going to go through a full consultation with you and really talk about your face. Because what you would do to me is different than what you would do to your next patient that you're going to see. And so I think that it's super important to find somebody that's going to take the time to do that consultation. I actually get my Botox done here, and I felt so comfortable. It was like 2 seconds, first of all. It was like the fastest ever, and you were just so calm and like made me feel so good about what you were going to do. And I knew, like, you had pointed out things. I've had Botox before, and you had pointed out a couple of things that like made such a huge difference, like little lifts that I'm like, oh, perfect. Okay, like I didn't know that I needed that there, but I was so happy with it. And like you said, like those subtle changes make such a difference, and you're making women feel good, feel better, you know? So I think that there's that part of this too that has got to be like, make you feel so good.
It does. And I think a lot of people, like, they'll come in and say, oh, I'm so vain for thinking that I need to have this done. But it's not about vanity. It's kind of like, to me, it's like coloring your hair. We want rid of the gray. For me, we want rid of the wrinkles that didn't used to be there. So it's more putting things back the way they used to be.
Yeah. And just feeling confident, like whatever that looks like, whatever it is that you want to do, you know, it's different for each of us. So I think I think that's awesome. Okay. So Botox is something that you do here, and that's your number one. That's what you're doing most of your days. Most of our days. What do you think would be next?
And then the filler. And then otherwise, we do a lot of body contouring. And I think it's really kind of a thing that people are starting to not understand quite as much, because there's so much out there.
Yeah.
They've had one session of cool sculpting and they're like, oh, cool sculpting didn't work for me, because a lot of times what it is that's bothering them are multifaceted. So for instance, if we're talking about the lower body, it may be that you have a little bit of fat that we need to do cool sculpting to get rid of. If you have a little bit of laxity, we may need to do something to stimulate the muscle to give more tone. We have something for cellulite now, which is brand new and we're so excited about, called Quo. And then even we do a lot of filler as well there on just kind of the laxity, maybe above the knees or on the outside of the legs. We can actually use filler to kind of smooth that out a little bit too. So I think a lot of times you'll go in and you'll be like, okay, I want cool sculpting, but you needed all these other things to get the actual result that you wanted. So it's putting that whole package together for you.
And what are consultations? I mean, so if somebody's listening and interested in any of these services, where do they start? Do they start by just coming in for a consultation, or what's your preference at this point?
Yeah, consultations, the way we love to do it, we usually can do most things the same day.
Awesome.
That's the nice thing about that as well too. So we do have online booking, and then also, of course, you can call here and schedule with us as well. With the when you come in for consultation, it's really one of our assistants brings you back, kind of gives you all the information of how it's going to go, what we're going to explain. We're going to explain everything during that time, and then you actually get a quote to go over to make sure you're comfortable if you wish to proceed. Or it's something that you can reschedule at any time.
That's awesome. So it's very low pressure, which is nice. I know those decisions, like I said, are usually maybe, you know, depending on cost and time of recovery and all of that stuff. So that's all something that'll be covered. Oh, good. That's great.